Hello, I want to report a robbery. I'm thinking of ringing 999. They're after this, my wallet, being mugged. We are being mugged. The biggest wealth transfer in history. Now, as the saying goes, if you owe the bank $100, you're in trouble. But if you owe the bank $1 billion, the bank's in trouble if you can't pay up. Well, the Federal Reserve has bailed out in the trillions all industries, airlines and I don't know who else, lots of even hedge funds. But at the end of the day, if the Fed holds all that debt for all those institutions and for all those businesses, it basically owns those businesses. They'll never be able to pay it back. And you could say, well, the Fed has effectively nationalized those businesses, but it hasn't nationalized them because the Fed is a private bank. And who owns the Fed? So at the end of the day, they've just, bought the world. The title of that James Bond movie, The World Is Not Enough. Well, apparently it's not enough. You've always got to have more. Suck up all that, that sound you can hear. Listen, can you hear it? That's them sucking up all the last bit of wealth before the reset, because we are going to get a currency reset. This can't go on. They're going to first they'll make sure they've got it all, and then we get the currency reset where you are locked into a position where you are unemployed and you've got no wealth and you've got your digital cash, because remember, all together now, money is dirty. It's a vector for spreading disease. I honestly think people have, there is a virus going about and it's making people monumentally stupid. It must be. Now look, I'd like to look at France as a case study. Look at the French. They were protesting for a year in the yellow vests. And you've got to take your hat off to the French. They are so contrarian. And they were protesting about the changes to their pensions and the austerity and everything. But supposedly they had voted Macron in. He was the God King, Mr. Macaroni. He was going to rule like Jupiter. Well, he's ruled like Jupiter, all right. He's turned it into a police state, hasn't he? The French weren't taking it, because they are the French. And you've got to take your hat off to them. They weren't taking it. They were protesting and protesting and protesting. And he, Macron, his pedigree, he's a Rothschild banker. Surprise, surprise. Austerity on the little people. And in the meantime, France and all the other European countries are being flooded by refugees, by wars created by... Who created all those wars in the Middle East? Who was behind it? Anyway, I can't remember. But anyway, they were flooded by refugees, and their economy is falling apart, and they want to slash everything and put austerity and everything. And the people just said, we've had enough of this crap. And they protested against it. But then what you see is even the firemen were protesting, and they put the police in against the firemen to club the firemen down. Well, I mean, have you ever seen anything like it? Well, it hasn't been effective. But the virus has got everyone staying home now, hasn't it? It's done the job. What the police can't do, what no one else can do, the virus has achieved. Yeah. Get everybody nice and scared. Now you imagine that you're sat at home for, I don't know, at the moment, they haven't told us how long. 4 weeks, 3 months. We might need to extend this emergency period to 6 months, our Prime Minister has said. Oh, and before I go on and tell you about this, I just want to say something about ScoMo, who on TV had a go at people for hoarding, and he said, stop it, just stop it. It's not Australian. Oh, hang on a minute, Mr. Prime Minister. You lot, and I'm talking about the MSM all across the world, have made people frightened shitless. And you've taken away their jobs, and their businesses. And they react normally by hoarding some food because they're frightened, because you've made them frightened. And then you have the temerity to wag your finger at them and to tell them to stop it, just stop it. Well, why don't you lot just stop it? Terrible, shocking. Anyway, the French, they're managing now to get everyone locked up. But you imagine 6 months, if it does take 6 months, 3 months, 3 weeks, who knows? Imagine the non-stop propaganda on the TV. Wash your hands, flatten the curve, don't touch this, don't do that, social distancing, how dare you go out for a walk, we must do this, we must... Oh, for goodness sake. They are really, this is just PSYOPs 101, this is just total brainwashing, and people can't see it. People can't see it. Now, once again, I'm not saying there's no real sickness, but they can't even tell the difference between ordinary flu and COVID-19. These numbers are 20,000 people cases of flu. Well, there might only be 10,000 cases of COVID-19. The other 10,000 might be ordinary flu, and the same with the deaths. 1,000 people have died in the UK. How many died of coronavirus? How many died with coronavirus? How many died of another type of flu? You can't tell, and you can't tell us, and we know you can't tell us. And why are you not using medication? You've got medications that work. This could be stopped in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Just issue the medication. It's very cheap. Antivirals. No need for your vaccinations. No need for it. So there's something else going on, and we know. The people who are still awake and are not brainwashed know that despite, there is some sickness going around. Yep, we have to be careful, but there's something else going on. You're robbing us. You're robbing us, and you're conditioning us while we're locked in our homes. You're brainwashing us. Because you know what? When you come out after 6 months, you are going to find that your life is not the same anymore. Not the same anymore. You won't travel. You'll be living on a pittance. This old life that you look back on as a time of abundance and prosperity. Because what comes next will be, you'll just be impoverished. You'll just be a slave. And it's all the fault of the virus. Yeah, we believe you. Yeah.